Test.
Alo, alo.
everyone. Welcome to our live broadcast this week. We are so excited to have everyone here. We have a great group of people here in our studio, and we've got a lot of people tuning in from all over the world, so we're so excited to do this. Just a couple of housekeeping things that I want to get through before we get started. If there's any kind of technical glitch or any issues or sound issues or video issues, just stay tuned. We're monitoring everything. Just stay on this Facebook page. We'll keep posting updates and everything that we need to do from there. So just remember to do that. So we're going to get started on this broadcast, and we are so excited. We're expecting a really good couple of hours here, and we want all of you that are watching on the internet to be part of the conversation. So in the comment section, as we're going along, I want you to post your comments. I want you to post any questions that you have. I'm going to be here reading all of that, and I will be feeding those questions to Jerry as we go. So we want this to be totally interactive and want you to be a part of the conversation as much as everyone that's here in the studio as well. Also, big news is we are going to fill you in on how to enter to win this massive giveaway that we are so excited about. We are offering a photographer and a friend or anyone else that they would like to have join, so 2 people, to come here to our studio and spend 2 days with Jerry and I. And it'll basically be a one-on-one workshop just for you. So we will take care of your round-trip tickets from anywhere in the U.S. You'll come and you'll be a guest in our home here in Las Vegas, and we will spend an entire day just doing a personalized mentor session. So we'll talk to you beforehand. We'll find out what it is that you want to learn the most, what you need the most help with, and it can be about a wide range of things. And then on the second day, you are going to assist Jerry at a real-life photo shoot. So you'll be his assistant. You'll get to watch how he prepares. You'll get to ask as many questions as you like along the way. So it'll be such an awesome experience, and we're really excited. So we're going to share very soon how you can enter that and when we'll be announcing the winner. So today's broadcast is all about wedding photography. And so Jerry is going to do everything from walk through an entire wedding with you to showing some images, beautiful images that he took in maybe not so beautiful locations, and talk about how he did that. We'll talk a little bit about everything relating to wedding photography. So we're really excited to get in, and remember, questions that you have along the way will be really helpful in helping us steer what direction we go into, so it'll be really great. Now, who is Jerry? If you're not familiar with him or you're wondering why we're tuning in to listen to Jerry, so let me tell you a couple of things that he's accomplished in the last few years. So Jerry is a Nikon ambassador, very proud Nikon ambassador. Also, he was named in the first ever list of top 10 wedding photographers in the world by American Photo Magazine. He is the first ever Grandmaster of WPPI. He has a lot of experience. So he has been shooting photography for over 24 years. He's had his own business for over 20 years, and he's been teaching for over 17 years. So I'm probably his biggest fangirl. I actually met Jerry by going to a Jerry Gionis seminar way back when I didn't know who Jerry Gionis was, and he totally changed how I shoot and how he changed the course of my business. So it's been pretty cool. So I will always be his #1 fan for everything that he helped me do in business before we got married. So turning it over, I'd love to turn it now over to Jerry.
Wow, thank you so much. I always just have a little tingle. I got goosebumps, see? Every time my wife speaks and or speaks about me or us, I totally fall in love all over again. So thank you, baby. That was a beautiful introduction. I'm sure that you're probably thinking right now, why can't I be watching Melissa? I'm thinking the exact same thing right now, but we've actually scheduled a wedding photography seminar and webinar, so here we are doing that right now. As you were speaking, actually, I realized, and looking around the room, we're an international audience because there's people from all over the world watching. So I thought between us, we know many languages. When you think about it, right? So what I'm going to do is, Melissa speaks Spanish, Italian, French. So I'm going to get you to start maybe with French. So welcome our audience. Okay. I'm going to speak in Greek and welcome our Greek listeners. Then we'll go back to you, but let's coordinate it. So welcome our French listeners and French-speaking listeners. Go, watchers, please.
Okay, bonjour et merci à tout le monde qui est avec vous ici. I'm trying to go from Spanish to French. Let me redo that. That is so hard to do in your head, good.
All right, French. Remember French.
Bonjour et merci beaucoup à tout le monde pour être ici aujourd'hui.
I don't know what she said. She could have said, Jerry, throw out the rubbish and And that was really sexy no matter what it was. Okay, so I'm now going to speak Australian. So welcome. G'day, guys. We're going to have a ripper time talking about some cracker information in wedding photography. That was Australian. Cracker. So, Melissa, let's go back to you. I know Italian is probably not the most fluent language, but why don't we welcome our Italian listening and watching speakers?
Buongiorno, spero che abbiamo qui molte persone dall'Italia.
Fettuccine carbonara. All right. All right, so why don't we go back now? Now, Chris, you speak Portuguese. So why don't we, now Chris doesn't know we're doing this, he's going to kill me. So Chris is our producer. Chris, if you can welcome our watchers there who speak Portuguese.
Queria agradecer a todos por estarem aqui com a gente hoje. Vamos falar de muitas coisas sobre fotógrafos e agora vou atrás para o Jerry.
What? That was like a race. Okay, Kalimera, είμαι ο Κυριάκος Γκιόνης, ο Jerry Γκιόνης και θα κάνουμε ένα σεμινάριο και καλώς ήρθατε. Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Is that right? We've done all the languages? No, Spanish. Baby Spanish. Go for it.
I can do Spanish. Hola. Creo que la mayoría de las personas en el mundo hablan español, entonces a todas las personas que hablan español, hola.
Okay, now just so you know, we're going to repeat this seminar in these 5 languages consecutively for the next 2 hours. We'll do it in, actually we've got more languages there. So we've got Italian, we've got Spanish, we've got French, we've got Portuguese, we've got Greek, we've got English, we've got Australian, we've got Canadian and American. That's what we're doing. All right, guys. No, I'm cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We have a live audience here, and you are looking very sexy, I might add. So can you introduce your sexy selves? So perhaps, now, Alicia, can you grab the microphone there? Alicia with the good hair, that's all I'm saying. If you can put the microphone really close and basically say where you're from, what you primarily do in this industry, and what would you love to gain from today?
Hi, my name is Alicia Avery. I currently live in Las Vegas. I mostly take portrait photography, but I'd love to get into wedding photography. I'm dabbling, so any and everything I can get from this, any information whatsoever, is what I want.
All right, you're a sponge. Fantastic. I would have loved to have done this kind of seminar at the start of my photography career, at least in the wedding industry, but we'll help you a lot today. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome.
I'm Cassandra Lopez. I'm the wife of Jose. I sometimes second shoot for him, but I do hair and makeup for weddings.
Well, fantastic. No, he's your husband. It's not. That's the way it works. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm Jose Lopez. I am Cassandra's husband. I do wedding photography mainly, but I also do portrait modeling and automotive photography as well.
Okay, fantastic. You do modeling?
Yes.
You do modeling yourself, or you?
I shoot and I have modeled.
What do you model?
Just whatever my friends want to shoot.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
There we go. Very nice.
So if you ever need a model, let me know.
Yeah. We're doing a ski mask campaign, actually. I'll be needing you for that. That's a joke, because your face will be covered. That's a joke. Okay.
Hello, my name is Hector Gurrola. I'm from Hector Gurrola Photography from Arcadia, California. First of all, thank you, Jerry Jones and Melissa Jones, for inviting me. It's totally a pleasure to be here today with you guys. And, I'm here just to learn from the one and only Jerry Jones.
Oh, thank you, mate. Thank you so much.
And once again, I'm so glad to be here today.
Thank you. Sexy accent, dude. Wow. Sexy tan with a sexy accent. And now we have the sexy biceps.
Oh, yeah. My name is Sam Fawaz. I'm Lebanese. I'm a photographer.
Wait. Please welcome our Lebanese watchers in the internet.
It's a language, maybe, if you need.
Go, please. Go, serious. I'm serious. I'm serious. Lebanese. Go, just welcome. Say welcome for a great seminar. We'll have some fun today.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it in Arabic, actually.
Oh, perfect. There you go. Go for it.
مرحبا. بتمنى تكونوا أنا أكيد رح تستفيدوا كثير من هالويبينار مع جيري جيونيز. أنا كثير استفدت وأنا أكيد رح تستفيدوا كمان أنتم. That's it for now.
That's awesome.
I'm a photographer specializing in wedding photography based in Las Vegas, and I definitely would love to learn more about posing and lighting. And that's a great honor to be here, actually.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carlos, based in LA. I'm a Mexican, so a little bit more Spanish. Really, it's a really honor to be here, Jerry. You're one of the best, and I would like to thank you for the opportunity. I do wedding photography, and I would like to improve all my work. So
Thank you
very much.
Thank you, mate. Welcome. I appreciate you being here. So Carlos and Alicia have got a competition for the best hair today. You know what I mean? You got the spiky, sexy thing going on there. We've got the beautiful curls. I'm a texture kind of a guy, so during the presentation, I might randomly just come up and just touch your hair. I'm asking permission, is what I'm saying. So, guys, welcome at home. Thank you so much for being here. We are talking about wedding photography, and I thought it'd be fun to just connect with the audience and do a free webinar and discuss my philosophy on wedding photography and really get you guys excited about maybe either whether you're a seasoned veteran and you're looking for sort of new ideas and some inspiration, or whether you're just starting out, or perhaps you have never photographed a wedding photography seminar at all. You have never photographed a wedding at all, and you're actually interested in coming to the industry. Now, guys, I just want to let you know, there's a lot of talk at the bars and the coffee clubs where photographers get together by saying, hey, these newcomers are ruining our industry. These weekend warriors are doing this, that, whatever. Let me remind you in this audience, and if you're watching at home, we were all once a weekend warrior, and we all started from somewhere. How can we begrudge anyone who wants to do something that they love to do for a living and feed their families while doing it? And here's the other thing. Let's say if you were getting married, and let's say you had no more than $500 to spend on a photographer, who would you book for a wedding photographer? You would book a $500 wedding photographer. Now, I'm saying is that most of us, I believe, we want to get better. We want to grow. And I don't care what demographic that you have. I don't care whether you charge $500 or $50,000. I care about our industry getting better, being better at lighting, posing, storytelling, educating ourselves and the clients for better business practice. Because so many of us, what we do is we want to be a professional photographer, so we start our own business. And that's the biggest mistake that we've made. Why? Because you want to be a business owner, you start a business and you happen to be doing photography. Make sense? So as a business owner as well, you've got, are you working in your business or on your business? So as a business owner, you should be working on the on bit. How to be more profitable, how to get the work in, how to market yourself, how to get better, and so on. If you're doing everything yourself, you're the retoucher, you're the seller, you're the photographer, you're the psychologist, you're the cleaner, how would you do justice to everything and everyone? Perhaps some of you at home, or maybe some in this room, are possibly having a day job. You've got a day job and you're doing photography in the weekends, and you will never quit what you do during the week for the weekends because you're waiting to make the same amount of money on the weekends as you do during a day job before you quit. The problem is, will you do justice to the job that you're getting paid good money for during the week? So you're not doing probably right by your boss. During the lunch breaks, and then afterwards, or anything, you're trying to update your business. You photograph your weddings, you download the photographs on Sunday, and then we're sort of missing this balanced life. There is no way that you'll be a good business owner in photography, and a good worker, and a good husband, and a good wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, all those different things. So we need a balance, and we'll talk about that perhaps later on in the presentation. What I'm suggesting is that we should start taking this industry. I ate a bit of peppered salami, and there's a little bit of pepper here. So if it comes out sexy, I'll just leave it. If it's bothering me too much longer, I'll have a bit of water and interrupt the show here. So what I'm suggesting is that we start taking it seriously. Because after all, I have to have some water, I'm sorry. All right, there we go. Why don't you cut to Melissa's pretty face while I'm doing that?
Well, and now I don't know what to say. Actually, I do want to say, because I'm with everyone who's watching online, I just want to say this is seriously international. Everyone's sort of saying where they're from. We have people from Macedonia, from Brazil, from everywhere watching right now. So it's so awesome. I'm really excited.
Awesome. That was a great filler, baby. That was awesome. Fantastic. I'm back. I'm feeling good. So that's what it is. We're here. We're in an industry that's actually shrinking, you would say. Or is it growing? Let's explain. Let's talk about this for a second. Everyone over the age of 12 living in a first world country has a phone, which means they have a camera on their person, which means everyone's a photographer. Or are they? If everyone literally had a microphone right now, could we all sing? Well, we could all sing, but how well can we sing? So I believe that photography has become the biggest hobby in the world. I believe it was probably the culinary world, the cooking and chefs and things like that, and the food industry. But you think about how many people actually take photographs per day, all day. And you know what? They're getting better. Tell me, how many times that you take a photo of yourself and you delete it because you don't look good? Come on, we all do. But you know what? Even the common person who's not a photographer, not a professional photographer, they're getting better. They know how to turn their face into the light. They know how to not to get those big biceps and big Popeye forearms in the foreground and things like that. So we're competing in an industry where people actually undervalue it because it's disposable. It's disposable. We just dispose of photographs with a swipe of a finger. In fact, we can hook up with relationships now with a swipe of a finger. How easy would that have been when we were younger? Damn it, that's crazy. Not you. You look too young. So what I'm getting at is we're living in a different world. We need to make people understand the importance and appreciate great, fine photography. To do that, then what separates us? What separates us from the persons sitting next to us? The people that we walk by at a mall or things like that. So I'm saying to you, when you're watching at home, if you're new to the industry, I welcome you with open arms. I want to help you do it the right way. And hopefully you and myself and everyone in this room, we're here for another 24 years. And we have a great, fruitful life, immortalizing moments for families that will outlive us. Not to sound morbid, but what we do for a living will be above the ground one day, we'll be below it. Think about that. Most other jobs are disposable. They're done. It's a service that we need ongoingly. Wedding photography, portraits, things that we do, they stay forever. Even if you get divorced, the kids of the parents who got divorced are still going to want to know what the parents, how they got married. And the great thing about divorce is that you get 2 more chances to shoot the wedding. So don't plant the seed and go break up marriages for the sake of that there. But so just want to let you know, I was given my camera, my first camera at the age of 15 by my brother Nick, and I was obsessed. I did it relentlessly as a hobby. I photographed anything and everything. First I wanted to shoot pretty girls and do fashion photography. That sounded really cool. But my whole family was in business, so I thought, you know what, it's probably more likely that I would always make money in wedding photography. And because of wedding photography now after 24 years, I pretty much know how to shoot most genres. Think about what wedding photography is. The veil's on the bride, she's a bride. Wedding photography. Take the veil off, it's a portrait. Take her clothes off, it's boudoir. Right? Get her pregnant, it's pregnancy. Don't you get her pregnant, you know what I'm trying to say. Newborn, she has a kid, it's newborn. Has a family, it's family. Like, we photograph all these things. Architecture photography, landscapes, streetscapes. We do all of that on a wedding day. So if you're watching at home and you're here, never undervalue the importance of actually how cool wedding photography is, because it can teach you anything and everything. Not only all those things, but other time constraints, weather constraints, the pressures, and the psychological implications of what we're talking about. It's an incredible industry. It is also very tough. Arguably, would you agree in this room that you actually have to probably work twice as hard for the same amount of money that you used to? Because more people have cameras, more people are getting into it. And you're saying, well, Jerry, well, shut the hell up. Don't invite people in the industry. I'm saying I'm inviting you to do it well. If we all do well, then couples who have professional photographers have a great story to tell. And now, so-and-so will not, bride John and Mary will not go get Uncle Harry to do the wedding because he's a decent photographer. I see his photos on Facebook and I like his picture and he gets 300 likes per image. He must be amazing. So I'm saying to you, my suggestion is let's be serious about this. How do we take it to the next step and level? I'm not one of those, I'm not going to tell you there's a shortcut. I'm not going to tell you that there's a handful of weeks that you can learn wedding photography. I'm not going to give you a nominated time where you will be a successful wedding photographer in weeks. No. I've seen some of my students do it in a couple of years, but what will be your best teacher? Repetition, experience, and practice, and Jerry Girona's photography training. I'm only joking. Certainly there are some incredible teachers out there at the moment. So, do couples know the difference between good, bad, and ugly, let's say? Do they know the difference? Not for the most part. Well, they're not sophisticated, are they? Couples don't know the difference between good and bad. So you might say, well, then why improve? Well, tell me something. When a bride goes to your website, for example, do you think she knows the difference between a hand of the bride being like that or nice and delicate? She doesn't know. She just knows what she feels. So if you don't pose the hand like that, but you make it all straight and stiff, then she'll look at those photographs and say, something doesn't feel right. But then I see Hector's website. Apart from being very sexy and I want to look at him all day and listen to his sexy accent, his work just touches my soul. There's something about it that's really beautiful. I don't know what it is, but it's beautiful. That could be because you pay attention that everything in the image is screaming romance, rather than having a couple kissing and then a guy's hand in his pocket, which is a mixed message. The hand in the pocket says, I don't really care about you. The kiss says, I love you, but don't look at the hand, look at the faces, and I'm like, there's no connection. So I need to believe that's the difference. Repetition, experience, practice will be your best teacher. If you're watching at home, take it seriously. There's no shortcuts to excellence. There are no shortcuts to longevity. Now, because everyone has a phone, because everyone has a camera, and we're all a photographer, many of us are missing these incredible moments of our lives. How many times have you been to a landmark or somewhere special, and no sooner than someone gets to like the Taj Mahal, for example, they're there trying to preserve a moment that didn't even happen. Make sense? You go to the Eiffel Tower. Oh my God, Eiffel Tower. Oh my God, look at me. Oh my God. Let me show everybody how amazing my life is. Why don't you enjoy it and know that you've got an amazing life? And I'm not saying it's not fun to share photographs with your family and friends. Please do that. I've got family and friends all over the world. I want them to know that I'm doing well and I'm having fun. But sometimes you just got to put the damn camera down and the phone down and enjoy life. And that's what we're for. We're there for. Employ us so you can enjoy your life. That's what I'm talking about. Check this photograph out. This was sent to me by someone, so I apologize if this is your photograph and you're watching this. I would love to have given the copyright to the respect to the photographer, but I didn't have the actual name. But have a look at this image. I don't even know what they're looking at, but have a look at everyone trying to preserve a moment that didn't even exist for them. Who is enjoying the moment right now? Well, she knows. She was born long before internet, long before Instagram. She's got the memories in here and in here, in her heart and her soul and her spirit, and she's just enjoying that moment. Who do you think will remember that moment better? The person who has a photograph of it, or the person who just sat there and soaked it all in? Of course. In fact, Melissa and I were actually with some students in Rome. We're there having a 5-day workshop with 20 students. Half the group had never been to Rome before, and there we were in front of the Colosseum. The sun was setting, orange glow off the Colosseum, set against the backdrop of those Simpson clouds, you know, those perfect clouds of the blue sky. And my students sort of said to me, Jerry, what are we doing next? Because I just sat and looked at it for a little bit. I said, we're doing nothing. Put your camera down, put it between your legs, make sure it's safe, and I want you to observe one of the most iconic structures, man-made structures in the world, in history. Think about the battles that were in this Colosseum. Think about the blood, sweat, and tears that were spilt for what you're seeing right in front of you, and the privilege that we have in this day and age to witness such beauty and grace. Just watch. And we sat there and watched it for 30 minutes. I don't think there was a dry eye by the end of that experience. Sometimes you just have to sit and look and watch and listen. And I'm telling you, we can preserve those moments for other people, not the other way around. I was once having a conversation with a friend of mine, not a friend of mine, pardon me, a stranger. I was at a restaurant, and you know, sometimes when you just discuss something with the person next to you and you find some common interest, and all of a sudden they asked me, what do you do? I said, I'm a photographer. And then in conversation I said, what is the most important photograph in your life that you actually own? Because I actually have it on me right now. And I said, please show me. So she showed me this beautiful photograph. Basically, it was her parents were in a wedding party, and they hardly even met each other. They hardly spent any time with each other. But you knew at that moment, in fact, they described to me, as in her, that their parents looked at each other during a photograph that was taken of their family's wedding, the moment that they knew that we're going to spend the rest of their life with each other. And I said, please, can I see it? And my heart melted. I said, can you send it to me? I want to show my students. Here it is. How beautiful is that when you have practically the moment that they knew they wanted to spend the rest of their life with each other. And how amazing is it how classy and classic these photographs are? So many of us photographers dismiss family photographs as boring. I say, damn it, you are boring, because the minute someone dies or gets sick or passes away, now you go back to the family photographs. Yes, do we want to look cool and sexy and beautiful and glamorous? I'm all about that as well. But I'm also about preserving family, relationships, story. That's what it's all about. And I'm saying to you is, what a privilege it is to be in front of people to capture memories like that. Capture the magic that exists and create magic if you need to as well. Melissa.
Hi.
I think people should be looking at your face and hearing your voice for a little bit because they're probably sick of me already. Do you have any comments or questions or thoughts from the audience or anything like that?
Everyone's just really soaking it in. A lot of really good feedback about what you just said and about why what we do is so important and how what we do is different. And even Jen Grashow just commented and said that quote that you said earlier on about how there are no shortcuts to excellence, that's a really awesome quote. I actually had that for the longest time, Jen, on right above my computer. Like, I just printed it out and put it because I love that quote too. Like, no one ever said that being good at something was going to be easy. It's just a lot of hard work if you're willing to put the time in. So I love that quote too. So that was really good. Thanks, baby.
Thank you, honey. Thank you. That's the problem, guys. This device is a blessing and a curse. There's so many things you can do on this device. There's millions of things you can do. So it's made us impatient. And I'm not going to start talking about baby boomers and millennials and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, what I want to sort of remind us of is that because we get a lot of things instantly, but they're disposable. Is a career, is preserving moments disposable? That's my question to you. That's not. It's forever. What we do is forever. You'll never throw it out. It's pretty cool, actually. Melissa and I, we recently did our Ancestry.com. And I pretty much thought, you know what, I'm European all the way, I'm Greek and all that kind of stuff. And pretty much, yes, if you look at all the DNA and all that kind of stuff in the map, it was like 90% in the Greek and Italian area. So I think I'm less than 1% African, which I'm dying to be because I just think that I just love different cultures. So I'm like, yes, I've got less than 1% in Africa, done. And then I'm a little bit of Middle Eastern. I'm mainly, European, all that kind of stuff. Melissa, where are you from? What was your DNA?
So we did this whole thing mostly because of me, because I was adopted as a baby. And so I know what my family is, but they're not necessarily my blood family. So I actually met my birth family on my mother's side a little while ago. And they're very Irish. I mean, I'm from Boston, so pretty much if you're from Boston, it's a really good chance that you're somewhat Irish. So I definitely am half Irish. But we didn't know what the rest of it was. So we just got it back, a week ago?
Yeah.
And it was like 45% Irish or something, which is what we were expecting. And then the rest of it was all focused around France and Italy. So maybe that's why I speak French and Italian and Spanish too, I don't know. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So speaking of the Taj Mahal, I mentioned that earlier. In fact, Melissa and I had the pleasure and privilege of actually visiting India earlier this year. We had a great time. We were invited to speak at the PEP show there. It was amazing. And it's really funny. You're at the Taj Mahal, and I'll be honest with you, when we're on holiday, I very rarely bring my big camera. I sort of just want to enjoy the moment, and I barely take a couple of photographs on this. But there I was at the Taj Mahal. I want to bring my big camera. So there I was, one of my Nikon cameras, I think it was a D5 or 750, something like that. And there I was, I took the incredible, awesome original shot that's different to everyone else that ever went there. No, that's exactly pretty much what everyone takes when they actually get there. That's the standard shot that we all see. And the reason why you don't see the other posts is because one of them had scaffolding on it. So I didn't want to do it. But what I'm getting at is, we go to places like that, and then most people will take the same shot. I'm not really a huge lover of, I appreciate landscape photography, but I don't really try it much myself these days because I can't compete with that guy or girl that's got the patience to spend a week in the wilderness and wait for the right sunset to take an incredible shot. And then when I do take a landscape, I say, where's the person at? I always picture a nude in a landscape. You know what I mean? You need some human being in that shot. But anyway, so we went there in sunrise because that's where we were told there was less people. Then we asked our tour guide, says, hey, is there any other vantage point that we can see the Taj Mahal? Sure enough, it was sunset, or before sunset, and across the river, we were the only one of 2 or 3 people in this vantage point. And earlier that week, I bought Melissa this beautiful dress, and there Melissa was just. I wanted her to wait for me to take a photograph. And this is straight out of the camera, nothing done in Photoshop, nothing like that. But I deliberately wanted her to wait for me. So I sort of pretend to fiddle with my camera like we do with normal clients, and so that they do their own thing. And there she was, just twirling her dress around, just soaking that in. I'll be honest with you, more beautiful than the Taj Mahal was my wife watching the beauty of the Taj Mahal. I found that more beautiful. She was just soaking it in, and it was beautiful. Then, guess what happened? This sandstorm hit. It was ridiculous. I don't know, some of you may have tuned in. We had a Facebook Live feed going. Yes, we enjoyed the moment, all that kind of stuff. But there was a few seconds where I could do it. But then, no joke. This is straight from the camera. This is straight from the camera. That's what happened. Then I'm like, well, what would most of us do? If most of us were there and we had some camera equipment, what would you do? Come on, tell me. Well, no. What kind of photograph would you take in this situation? I'm like, off-camera flash, of course. So I go bang, and I'm like, that was my first test shot, right? So the exposure wasn't perfect on the go. Then I did that, and that was a bit posy. The light was a bit hot. I'm like, come on, Jerry, you're at the Taj Mahal. You've got this incredible mausoleum to this queen. Google it. It's an incredible story. Over here, you've got your queen over here. Come on, Jerry, like, we need something. So then we had some fun. We moved around. I was waiting for a moment between a moment, and then this happened. Thank you. Now, one of you applauded. That sounds really good to the audience at home. So I think one applause is worse than than nothing. But if you I'm saying it. I want to look good in front of my wife. So if you like a photo, just clap. All right. So any questions at all at this stage, baby girl? Before we move on, I'm going to cut to you every so often just to sort of see if you've got anything to say.
There's a couple of general questions with regards to wedding photography and how you shoot, but maybe we can get to that a little bit later.
Okay.
At the moment, everyone's just loving
Wonderful.
what you're saying. A lot of people are saying that when they go on vacation, they try so hard not to take a DSLR because it's too hard to not work and get it done and enjoy that time. So, yeah.
So my advice to you is to limit what you do when you're on vacation. So when you're going to a place that's beautiful and fantastic, whatever, I want you to go there and soak it in, like fully, half an hour, 2 hours, half a day, whatever it is. Certainly in a moment that can't be replaced because something else happens, what I would suggest, take those 2-3 shots just for the record, for Instagram, for your parents, for your family, and put the camera down and soak it in, right? Soak it in. Now, recently I photographed the wedding of Taylor Golden, beautiful girl. So there, was it Houston, baby? Was it Houston?
It was in Houston.
So we photographed this wedding in
humid.
Houston. It was very humid, yes. I mean, we can't talk about heat here, but we don't have much humidity, but life is good. Anyway, so we're photographing a wedding, and I asked her, is there access to a rooftop that we can take a beautiful cityscape view? And sure enough, she said 5 minutes down the road from our apartment is actually a car park, and then we can just jump on the top and take a photo. And then as I was driving into the car park, I see this orange wall, and I'm like, that's really cool. And I'm like, hoping that where we're going to go, I literally looked up, and I'm like, hashtag meh, like MEH, right? I take one shot, and I said, guys, I'm not feeling it, I'm sorry. I'm not feeling it. Now, some of us who lacked confidence would say, oh, we went all the way up here, I've taken a photograph, it would deem a lack of confidence or skill if I couldn't get a good photograph right here. I would say, as long as what you do is very deliberate and you gain trust and confidence from your clients, you can do anything. They'll probably trust you and respect you more that, guys, I'm not feeling it because I don't want to take a bad picture of you. So what I want you to do is guys, on the way up to the car park, I saw this beautiful orange wall and I got a really cool idea. So we passed this wall. What would most of us do here? I think two things. Most of us would actually get the bride up against the wall, turn her face into the light, do a nice stylized pose, bang, or we would do something like this, maybe a silhouette of sorts, because the tree is giving you that idea. The trees are saying, Jerry, pose me right there, because that beautiful little gap there, if you see this, you see how that shape is mirroring their shape? Perfect, right? Then I'm like, yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Then I'm like, see how it's very structured? It needs a bit of flow. So then I just said, hey guys, dance around, just twirl her around. And they did it. What's wrong with this picture? He's very straight, her hands coming out of her head. This happens, we're getting somewhere. They twirl around again. Then I'm like, just bring your hand out, and what I want you to do, do you see how he's standing straight? And I asked him to lean forward. Now there's more flow. Leaning forward. Now there's patchy light on her. I've got to sort of capture it in a way where we can get a clean little spot. Now we're getting somewhere. That's pretty beautiful. But I'm like, something's missing. And what I'm getting at too here is this. Most of us, now normally I would, if I can pose it and I'm not relying on movement, I would slow down and nail it in a few shots. Something like this, I'll rattle off a few more than I normally do. But I kept on going with it. I'm like, wait a second. If they were dancing, maybe his hand would be there touching her other hand as well. And I'm like, okay, I've got the picture. Something is missing. So I'm like, how cool would it be if the part of her dress just flew up? So I posed them and I asked her to do this. Right? Then I retouched it and bang, there's the shot. You sort of see the difference between finesse and just blah or just nice. Look at where we started and look where we got to. Have you ever photographed a wedding or something or an event and totally forgot that you were a photographer? As in, you got caught up with the moment and you held your camera to your waist and said, oh, it's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. Oh. So I've said this, and I've actually teased photographers as well as myself, because I've done it before myself. And so Melissa's heard this many, many times in our career and all that kind of thing, but there she was. I took 1 or 2 photographs of this bride who was very self-conscious. She was plus size, gorgeous girl, but she felt self-conscious. And there Melissa was, looking at me as the bride was just weeping, holding me, and Melissa was just looking. And I'm like, I've never spoken so loudly with my eyebrows. I'm like, finally, this is after 30, 40 seconds, she takes this photograph. Did you see? See, you would have been the same person. You would have been that same person, friggin' just watching and just enjoying the moment. But that's what I'm getting at is, we get paid to miss those moments, as in, we capture them. It's not really for us. Yeah. I know this shot, or again, I showed the bride these photographs, just even traditional family portraits of this bride, and she just looked at herself and said, I never thought I would be this beautiful. So that's what I'm getting at is, we have the privilege of actually bringing out the best in people. So why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we do that? So, any questions from our audience so far? You feeling good? All right, very good. All right. So guys, what I want to do is, I thought it'd be fun, before I show you, I'm going to walk through an entire wedding shortly, an entire wedding. Talk about my philosophy of shooting and lighting and posing and storytelling, and even to a point some album design. But I thought it'd be fun to show you guys how I even started off thinking a little bit differently. Many, many years ago, one of my best friends, Sally Ann Sargood, she's one of the marketing directors now at Animoto. She was my assistant for 7 years, my personal assistant. She would basically shoot behind the scenes stuff of me and sort of say, Jerry, you should really show this at the seminars that you're showing, and it'd be fun to really show those behind the scenes photographs, because you make something out of nothing. How do you do that? And I'm like, oh, I love MacGyver, the TV show. Who loves MacGyver? Everyone loves MacGyver. It is so full of crap. But the cool thing is, he would just make something out of nothing. He would go into a tool shed and drive out with a bus. How the hell did he do that? What I'm getting at is, when I grew up in photography, I said to myself, if MacGyver was a photographer, what would he do? It makes you think differently. If I said to you, your next wedding, pretend like you're the best wedding photographer in the world, what would you do? Would you be nervous? Would you freak out? Would you shoot too fast? Would you not look for light? Would you not pose? Would you not evoke emotion? No, you would do all of those things. It makes you think differently. The worst problem, I believe, in I'd say the most common problem of all the students of photography that I've actually taught over the years, the most common is you go too fast. We just go too fast. We freak out. See, if you're Greek, watching at home, you'll understand this saying. Your mother will say to you when you're going on a long trip like you guys did from LA, "Na pas siga, na ftasis grigora," which means basically go slow to get there quicker. Don't have an accident. You might have an accident. Just get there. So slow down. So I was actually here in this location. Some of you may have seen this before. I'm going to show you just a handful of sort of legacy shots that I call them. And one of my students said in this environment, "Jerry, create something incredible in this location." So I'm like, all right, let's try. Let's diagnose a location. We see reflections. We see a bench. We see a frame in the background. I'm thinking, okay, what ideas does that give us? I look at the bench. Perhaps the bride can sit on it. Would she sit on a bench, or she could lie on it because it's long enough? There's the idea for the pose. She sits down and she brings her elbows back and she lies on it. Then she brings her chin up. I get a video light over here, illuminate her and the frame. Then I see a reflective surface, like this one. I go close, but you know what? It's too high. I get two guys to hold the table and tilt it towards the bride, turn the light off. In one shot, we get this image. Now, if I waited for that moment to happen, I would still be there. So I'm saying to you is that it's our job to see the world differently. If you don't see the world differently and you see it the same as everybody else, then why would they pay you more than Uncle Harry or nothing? Make sense? Baby girl.
Just a couple of thoughts. Pat Muntak, who came to our workshop in New York a couple of years ago, when you were talking about how one of the biggest mistakes that photographers make is trying to go too fast, Pat was saying that it's still ingrained in her head every time she shoots, hashtag STFD. You want to know what that is, baby?
Slow the down, yes.
And it's so true, and it stays ingrained in your head every single time. There was actually a question from Paola Gutierrez about how do you find that moment, or how do you find that location if you've never been there before? Like, let's say you're shooting a wedding in a different location or even a different country that you're not familiar with. So you're talking about finding that moment, finding the location. How do you do that if you have no idea what's around you?
Great question. So here's the thing, guys. How do we work out these locations if we haven't been to? Where do we shoot? Well, where do we shoot? We should be shooting in the best light humanly possible. I believe when we're inexperienced, we look for the best location. There's a nice wall, there's a nice tree, there's a nice bench, whatever it may be. I'm looking for pockets of light. I'm looking for light that can complement someone, that can make them look beautiful. Now, you might say, "Jerry, why don't you just get your off-camera flash and shoot everything with off-camera flash?" Then I'll say, yes, I can do that. One, it'll take probably too much time, and two, everything will look the same. Why I like relying on my locations is because they tell me what to do, as this example shows perfectly. Look for the light first. If a location attracts you, either find or create the good light. Don't be intimidated. Certainly know what's around. You might want to go earlier to a hotel you've never been to before and scope out the place. But unless you're actually scoping it out the exact time that you'll be shooting it, it really makes no difference, does it? So, yes, understand your locations, but if I had a choice between the Taj Mahal and crappy lighting and a plain white wall with a beautiful direction of light, it'll be the Taj Mahal. No, it will be the white, it'll be the white wall. And don't get me wrong, you're the Taj Mahal, you freaking make it work, right? So, it's funny, I was once at a seminar in London, and I had this elderly gentleman he just sort of stood up and he just yelled out, "Jerry, you're showing off all these before and afters, prove that you can do something right here, right now." And he was actually very rude saying, I'm like, first of all, relax. Second, I love a challenge. Now, I didn't even have a camera with me. It wasn't an actual shooting seminar. So I borrowed a camera and I thought to myself, well, what can I create within 6 feet of where I'm standing? Now, I was shooting there was actually a projector illuminating the show for my seminar. So what I basically had was, I had a tablecloth over a table, I had projector, and I was drinking a glass of water. Then I think to myself, wait a second, okay, what can I do? I knocked on the table, it was just wood. I thought, maybe I can actually take the projector off. I'll find something off-white or skin tone on the projector, and I zoomed up to it. Now I've got this beautiful, soft 4,500 Kelvin degree light, slightly warm, not daylight. So now I've got this beautiful warm light. The table now, I put the glass, I get my glass of water and I pour the glass of water on the table. Water was dripping. People were freaking out, thinking, oh my God, water on the carpet. It's okay, it will dry. But it was just, in that setting, it seemed a bit weird. So can you picture it? So one of my students was there holding the projector, illuminating the girl that I was about to photograph. Water was dripping from the table. I got a very cute girl, Hector, similar, basically a female younger version of you. She kneeled down, put her chin on the table, I tilted it, I took one shot, and we got this image. So it would be very predictable for us, or for me, to have got both her face. So I thought, what's unpredictable? Let's maybe just get half her real face and then her eyes in the reflection. Now, if you're forced to do something or think creatively, you might just do it because you're forced to. But you know what you do? You shoot the wedding every single week the same way. Because you think bride number 37, pose number 22, location number 1. And you do the same stuff. Now, can you make money doing that? Yes. It will feed your mouth, but it probably won't feed your soul. The problem is, with anything creative that we started off photography because it was creative. We loved it, so now we turned it into a living. Now we do it for just to make money and to live. And after a while, if it doesn't feed your soul, it won't feed your mouth because people can see their energy a mile away. Make sense? So my encouragement to you is, you've got to shoot that wedding with the experience of your 100 or 1,000, with the energy and the excitement of that's your first. Make sense? Baby girl, let's cut to you.
Yes, I have a couple of really good questions. So Maggie Manchester said, when you are walking into this environment and you have something planned out, do you ever get nervous or do you get put off or discouraged when something isn't going according to plan, either with your vision or just the day isn't progressing as you had planned it? Like, how do you prevent that from affecting your performance?
You know, it's all problem solving. It is a great question. Do any of us feel nerves in a day and lack of confidence? Well, yeah, hell, we all do. The best thing you can do is at least be prepared. What's the worst that can happen? You find a white wall, you get an ice light. Do you like that? Just put that in there. Get an ice light, get a flash, bounce it, and then just create something. So I'm saying to you is, you have to understand that you just need to simply do the best you can under the circumstances, because we put too much pressure on ourselves, and if we don't perform, or they don't perform, if we actually take it personally. So my suggestion is to give yourself every opportunity to educate yourself and the couple for a really good, conducive environment that's conducive of good work. Will challenges happen? Will things get thrown at you on the day? Of course they will. But you can't let them see your fear. You can't let them see it. The best you can do is slow down, take your time, look around, and say, what are the priorities right now? What's the best that I can do under the circumstances? And then do it. If you miss some portraits at home, for example, make a mental note and do them afterwards. And even if you weren't hired for the whole reception and you've missed some important shots, even if it's not your fault, I would stay the whole night and not leave the wedding until I get them. Make sense? Alrighty. Now, most of us, when it's sunny, you know what we do? We run for the shade. It's sunny, especially here in Vegas, man, it's sunny like 90% of the time. So what do? Well, you know, some of us can do something like that. It's a pretty shot, it's pretty. But you've got to use the sun to your advantage. What I do is I think of excuses, usually when the sun's up really high. What would be a good excuse for the bride to bring her face upwards? Well, maybe the bride's shorter than the groom, which is usually the case. Maybe the bride has an excuse by putting the chin on the shoulder of the groom that forces her face upwards, and bang, I've got an idea for a shot. The light told me that. The light said, Jerry, don't be lazy, bring her out in the sun and maybe try something a little bit different. So now rather than you see it as a weakness, we see it as a strength, because I wouldn't have got that shot in the shade. So now it looks like a tattoo, or it looks like a lace blouse or something, you know. Now, in a moment when we start going through the wedding from scratch, I'm going to talk to you a bit about the idea of actually adopting a style that encompasses every style. Not just photojournalism, not just posing, not just everything. I really believe you should be a complete photographer. Here, this was photojournalistic. This is a shot that I didn't pose. It was the first shot that I took on this wedding day. Now, it's okay. It's disposable. It's not, no one's going to melt. No one's going to get too excited about this photograph. I went up to the bride and the sister, and I said, do you mind if you just undo that top button again and just turn your body, arch your back, and then do it up again? And then we got this shot. So guys, who would you like to marry of those two girls? Girls, who would you rather be? Make sense? So I'm suggesting if the magic is there, capture it. If it's not, create it. And we're going to show you how we do this. Now, I was doing an engagement session on the beautiful city skyline of New York. And I had an off-camera flash, no tripod, and that was it. Now, I was taking these nice photographs, all that kind of stuff. It was getting dark very quickly. Back then, I didn't really have a camera that was with a good quality ISO above 1600. So I was limited to 1600. I was limited to handheld with no tripod, capturing ambience handheld. So what do? I'm not going to handhold my camera at a second to get the ambience of the city skyline because now it's gone dark. So I'm not going to even try. So I decided to do this. Let me do a long exposure, maybe half a second. I capture the ambience. I'm not going to get it perfectly still, so I'll glorify the movement. So what I did was I pre-focused on the couple with an iPhone light. Then we got an off-camera flash, and I did this. Pre-focus, light off, the ambient light off. Click. Click. And we got this shot. So what I'm suggesting is probably a perfect example that we're talking about working under pressure because they're expecting, it's a city skyline. I didn't have a continuous light, the ice light with me back then. I didn't have a tripod. I needed to actually have some kind of ambience. I couldn't actually solve that problem, but I glorified the problem. Now it's actually in effect and it works well. All right, so Chris, just so you know, I'm going to show a little piece of video footage with sound from a seminar, and I just want to show you what working under pressure is. I was actually asked to do a presentation in front of 1,000 people, and it was a shooting seminar on stage at a theatre. And I'm picturing beautiful red curtains and gold leaf and chandeliers. I can do some great shots here. It's pretty intimidating when you're shooting in front of 1,000 people, and whatever you click on your camera gets tethered straight away to it. So I'm going to show you some footage now of me in front of an audience and creating something pretty much from nothing. So the two props that I brought was bubbles and some Christmas lights. Watch. All right, so you got to hold the lights. You guys are going to get married. All right, fantastic. Cuddle up nice and close. So we'll do a similar shot this time, but I want your bangs behind your ears. And, all right, so cuddle up nice and close. Now what you guys are going to do, you're going to come over here and you're going to blow like you've never blown before. That was nothing. I didn't mean anything by that. I'm just, blow bubbles is what I'm talking about. Okay, but you need to sort of actually, I need you to get on your knees and blow upwards. Okay? Okay, so over here. No, go behind them. No, over here, all over here. All over here. Yeah. Come here. All right. Now, everyone, so you guys go like knee to knee, like shoulder to shoulder, and you're going to stay where you are and then blow the bubbles upwards, okay? And come a little bit this way, and I need you to hold the flash for me. So what I need you to do, you get these. No, we're not ready. We're not playing for fun here. There's 1,000 people in the room here. What's wrong with you people? You're going to run out of bubbles. That's it. And I might get you a bit more behind them as well, because I need the flash. I need the flash to hit behind there as well. So everyone come nice and close and probably come past this point. Everyone this way. Yep. So everyone, so face up, blow the bubbles, look at each other. Bubbles, more bubbles this side. I want to see more bubbles here. Guys, twist towards me. Twist towards, that's it. Okay, so more here. Here. Please don't Instagram this. All right, hold it there. Hold it there, guys, hold it. Oh, it's actually awesome, oh my God. Have a look at this shot. That's freaky, look at that. Isn't that fun? Yeah. No, that was a PPA about a couple of years ago as well. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of pressure. And these guys weren't even a couple. I just grabbed them from the audience. And, and it was really, really cool. I love the way the light's bouncing between them. And then we've got that beautiful ambience and stuff. So I guess, again, what I'm trying to say is that we need to see the world differently. Because, like I said, if we don't see the world differently and we see it like everybody else, then they're paying for your eye and your soul. Yeah? I'm going to show you one more shot, and then we're going to spend the next hour, the last hour, and we're going to go through an entire wedding, and show you and talk about and break it all down and hopefully give you some confidence. Many people have asked me about this shot over the years, and I want to show you how I created it. I was walking with this groom along the grass there, and as I'm talking to him, I sort of just look across to him, and I see the reflection of his silhouette set against the overcast sky. And then it's funny because the bride was walking in the house. I forget the context, what was happening, but the bride was just sort of walking past. And I see her as soon as she crossed the actual silhouette reflection. You know, pretty much like you do that in the window. And I thought, wait a second, I've got a shot here. I've got an idea. So I asked if anyone had a stepladder, so they found one. I scooched down. I got him to basically, why did I get him on a ladder? I wanted him basically higher than the environment. So all I'm shooting is the reflection of his silhouette against the white background, the white overcast sky. Then what I did was, by mirroring the bride, getting her to mirror me, I positioned her in a way where she was perfectly montaged into his face. As a metaphor that the bride, without being too cliche, but the bride and groom are becoming one. Now, without a beautiful expression with pride and beauty from the bride, this would have only been a gimmick or an effect. But once we get this beautiful, when you look at her expression, just look at her reverence and respect and love that she has for her husband. How beautiful. Have a look. Really nothing, isn't it, of a person? Yeah? Any questions from our audience? If you have one, go for the microphone.
Yeah, actually you spoke about being creative. But here's the thing, how can you deal, I love all the brides actually I worked with, but here's the thing, sometimes you have to deal with somehow needy brides.
No.
Like, kind of. Like, they go to your website, they love your work, they love your style, everything, they will give you all the trust, and then at the wedding day, they want that picture in mind, and they want that picture and this, and you know what, and sometimes you don't even have time to do even the basic shots. Like, I mean, how can you deal
So what
with
do you
the
do?
situation?
So basically what we just to reiterate what you said is that a bride wants a particular picture. She could have even brought you some Pinterest photographs and said to you, hey, I want something like this. Here's the thing. A lot of brides will think they need to give you information, or they don't know what else to ask, so they basically just say, hey, let me go to Pinterest and pick the best photograph from every photographer and see if you can do it. Impossible. So it's very important that you set expectations. So if a bride brought me photographs, many of them, even 3 or 4, I might say, I'm in the habit of not only meeting your expectations, but exceeding them. To do that effectively, we need trust. I want to set expectations properly right from now. I believe these shots are beautiful. I can understand why you love them. Now, I get the understanding and spirit of what you want. I'll emulate that in your photographs. To copy an existing photograph, how special would you feel that you have a photograph that looks exactly like somebody else's? So let's capture the spirit of it, but do it your way. And you know what? You'll post it on Pinterest and brides will look at your photograph and want to copy it. Now, I give one rebuttal, one comment back to the bride. If she says, Jerry, ever since I was a little girl, I've seen this photograph and I want to do it. And I said, you know what? I'll be the same. Let's do it. Let's make the most out of it. Now, to do that effectively, make sure that on the day we spend this amount of time devoted to this photograph, because if you don't give me the time, after all, I won't be able to do it for you, let alone beautifully. So have one rebuttal, and if she comes back and wants it, then you just do it as best you can, but educate the brides, grooms before the wedding that you need time to create. If you don't have time, then you won't be able to do it or not do it well. I've actually missed some weddings, and I've said to the bride, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can actually not only meet your expectations, but let alone exceed them, so therefore I don't feel comfortable photographing your wedding because you're not giving me enough time. And then There's nothing that inspires desirability other than scarcity. Now they want me more because I don't need the wedding, and now they're going to give me the exact amount of time that I want to produce. All right, we have some very exciting news all about how to win a 2-day experience with Melissa and I. So Melissa, if you want to talk about it.
So we are doing this massive giveaway. We are wanting to bring one of you guys out here to us here in Las Vegas. And so we're offering the opportunity for 2 people, so that would be you and someone else, and that's whoever you choose. It can be your business partner or your husband or your wife or anyone, your best friend, to come out. And what we will do is we will pay for your flights round trip from within the U.S. So if you live outside the U.S., you just need to get to the United States, and then we will cover your flights to come here. You'll stay in our home for 2 days. And we will have an amazing experience completely tailored to you, basically. So on our first day, we will spend the entire time doing a one-on-one mentoring session with you. We'll go over beforehand exactly what you'd like to cover, whether it's business, marketing, posing, lighting, anything at all that you'd like, we'll cover it. So that will be your day. On the second day, Jerry will have a live fashion shoot, and you will be assisting him. So you can watch him get ready, everything that he does to prepare for it, and you can then...
Watch me get ready.
No, you won't watch him get dressed, not that ready, like get the studio ready, and you can ask as many questions as you want along the way. All of your accommodations, all of your meals, everything will be taken care of. This will be your experience. So here's how you enter. All you have to do is go to the website jerryandmelissa.com. And there you can enter all of your details. You just need to enter your name and your email address. And then there's one quick question that says, what would this experience mean to you? What would it mean to you if you were able to come out here and spend a couple of days with us? That's not a required field, so you don't have to type anything in. But if you have a few words, we'd love to hear them too. So we will be choosing a winner very soon. We had originally said that the deadline was on July 31st, but we had a couple of technical issues last week, so we're extending it by a few days. So we want you to enter by August 9th. And then after August 9th, we'll pick a winner and then we'll announce it. So hopefully it's you. We are so excited about meeting 2 of you and having 2 of you stay with us for a little bit.
Awesome, thank you so much. We can't wait. And just so you know, that the mentoring will be mandatory in the swimming pool. I've discovered that true happiness is a pool and a pool toys. So that will happen. All right, so that's very good. All right, now let's get into this one wedding. I want to show you one wedding album from beginning to end and give you some ideas on how we do things and the approach that we actually take. So the question is, what is the most important thing in a photograph of oneself? Now, not after an answer that I want to hear. What is it for you? It's different for everybody. What is the most important thing in a photograph of oneself? That you look good? Mm-hmm. That's pretty vain. Who disagrees? Emotions? Expression? Yeah? I actually believe in what you believe in. Because now, as vain as it sounds, we all actually feel the same way, whether we want to admit it or not. When we see a photograph of ourselves, let's say you're with a bunch of girls and girlfriends in a group shot at a party or something. The first thing you do, even though there's 10 people there, you go to yourself and say, do I look cute in that photograph? See, guys, we have 3 problem areas when it comes to looks. Gut, double chin, bald head. Women, everything. Right? It's everything, true? I'm not saying that that's the way I feel. I believe that, yes, women look at everything. They're conscious about most things. Certainly this society has placed so much pressure on women to look good in a certain way and all those kinds of things. So when it comes to a wedding, times that by 20, because now a bride, that's the most, she will not look better than on her wedding day, usually. So if she doesn't look good on that day, what's going to happen? With photography now, what I'm getting at is that the same bride who wants to look beautiful, she says, don't pose me. Sound familiar? Yes. If, in fact, your business name was called I Pose People, how much business would you get? Very little, because quite simply, posing implies a very structured, mechanical process. I'm saying to you that arguably, well, people need it. do we need help to look good? Ironically, here's what happens. Ironically, a girl will spend 2 hours getting a mani and pedi. She'll spend an hour getting like waxed and ripping out hair by the roots of unspeakable places to look good. But when she's in front of the camera, don't pose me because I want to look natural. You just spent probably a few $100 getting Botox. You got fillers. You got makeup put on. You got a $10,000 dress. You did all this because you want to look natural. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying knock yourself out. If you want to shine brighter, you look beautiful when you wake up, fantastic. But you want to shine brighter, then do it. If you want to shine brighter still, the likes of me that will spend my whole day devoted to you looking your best and feeling your best and telling a beautiful story, I'm your guy. So whether the wedding day was a fairy tale or not, it should be and will be remembered as one if you hire Jerry Giornis to photograph it. That's my philosophy. So I'm saying to you in a nutshell that I believe in the art of everything. Not just I'm a photojournalist, not just I pose, not just I direct, not just I'm a natural light shooter, I'm an off-camera flash guy. You should be everything because there'll be times where you need to be everything. And if you're not prepared and all you have is an 85 1.4 lens, choose which eyeball of the 10 sets of eyeballs in that family portrait you want in focus. Make sense? Baby girl, you got a question?
I do. You know, there have been a lot of questions on this broadcast as you were talking about just people struggling potentially with the client that they're working with. So it kind of goes along with what you were just saying where, you know, things may not always go according to plan, but if you want your wedding to be remembered as a fairy tale, you're going to hire Jerry Giornis. But there were a lot of questions that came in today that said, look, sometimes the couple just isn't into it. Maybe they're so super stressed out that they're not feeling it and they're making it so difficult for you. Or you have a groom who really could not care less about photography and he doesn't want to be there. Or you've got, you know, the family's been fighting and the energy is really bad. How do you overcome that? Like there were enough questions that a lot of different people have been asking that I think it would be really helpful if you sort of addressed how you might deal with that situation.
Great question, guys. The number one thing, I'll say it again, slow down. If you go too fast, that energy going into that wedding too quickly and jerky, it doesn't feel right. It's a bit nerve-wracking. Even before that, you have to build trust with your clients. The clients, they're going to want to laugh with you before they cry with you. In other words, I want to know what interests you. I want to ask deeper questions than how are your plans for the wedding coming along. We have to develop trust. And to do that, I do that with humor and empathy. I care about you and I want to have a laugh with you. So before the wedding, if we hardly speak to them, if it's an interstate wedding or overseas or whatever, and you haven't even Skyped them and all you're doing is email, then how do you develop rapport with someone that you have to capture the most important day of their lives there and then? There are some personalities that can make friends in 2 seconds, and there's some that might take a month or a year. You have to be instantly attractive as a person. Attractive as in, I want you in my face with your big 200mm lens. What do? I might start with a joke or an innuendo or something to see what I get away with. In fact, what I do is I get my couples I mirror my couples. So I start off being them and they end off being me. You might think, what does that mean? I might do a high society wedding and I might be doing this. Now, what am I saying with my hands and my body language? I'm here to serve you. I'm subordinate to you. You are the queen. Okay? So I might start off very simple, very respectful. In fact, I'm not going to be Jerry straight away, perfectly Jerry straight away. I want to see where you're at. And then warm them up a little bit. Just take a photo or two. I'll make sure that the first photograph that I take is beautiful and show her. Not all day. You know how sometimes you get in awe of your own brilliance? It's like, oh my God, look how great like, just show one or two every so often to build confidence, but spend more time taking photographs. It's also about playing games. I have some fun with couples. I loosen them up a little bit, you know. And if I can't get the reactions out of the couple, I'll get the best man to do it. Because the best man, normally the best man, because the best friend, and your best friend you choose because he's funny. That answer, the answer to these questions will be answered ongoingly with this presentation. So let's look at it. So Erin, Jeremy, a couple of you may have seen this before, but I want to delve in deeper with this wedding. I always start off the wedding with a wow, something that just seduces the audience into want to seeing more. Now, usually what I do is I don't take these kinds of shots regularly. And you might say, why? Now, often, many photographers will take photographs of a bride getting ready. Hairspray, the makeup artist who doesn't mean anything, crap everywhere. I'm sorry, you mean something. I love you. It's all good. But you know, you're waking up 4 in the morning and you're half dead, and then all of a sudden you're going to be a feature in the photograph. So what I'm saying is, I don't normally like photos like this or too many, because it's the first impression that we have of the bride. It's like, let me show you with no makeup and then show you basically that you needed it. You know what I mean? So what I'm getting at is, this is an exception to one of my rules, is quite simply because there's a bit of harmony in that chaos. The dress is there, the girls are getting ready, I didn't pose a single thing because there was magic without me. Then what did I do? I actually got the bride, right, and the mother and the sister there. Now, if they got ready on their own, would they have got ready in beautiful light? Would they have got ready with a space of negative space behind? Maybe. Perhaps they would have gotten ready behind closed doors so I wouldn't get a glimpse of like her half naked or anything like that, because you get ready behind closed doors. Therefore, we've missed that moment. I'm saying to you is, I encourage not only a reactive style of photography, reactive, I'm going to react to the moment, but I'm proactive. So in other words, don't wait for the moment, make it happen. So all I simply did was loosely directed them in that position and said, just fix her up, go for it. I might crack a joke as they're playing, so I get a bit of emotion out of them as well, but that's a gorgeous moment. Then what did I do? I need some classic shots under my belt of the bride. So I take a series of shots like this. Notice what I do. Notice her body language. What am I doing? Is she perfectly straight and flat to the camera? No, because what I love about women are curves. Ladies, my wife, I love your curves. I want to see them. If you're standing flat to me, then I'm not seeing, unless you have like obvious curves, might be difficult to see. If I turn the body on a bit of an angle, okay, so I turn the body on a bit of an angle, now I'm seeing bust, waist, and butt. Great, I'm seeing shape. I want to emphasize it even more. Point the toe towards the camera. You stretch out, and for those audience at home, maybe here, stretch out that toe right here, slide the heel back, bend the knee in, shift the weight, the butt, away from the camera. Anything you want to emphasize, you push it towards the camera and towards the light. Anything you want to de-emphasize, away from the camera and away from the light. So let's start again. Turn your body, point the toe towards the camera, slide the heel back in, bend the knee, shoulders back, lean forward. Don't I look beautiful? Thank you. So what I'm suggesting is now we have beautiful curves, and it's more engaging. Now my face is more towards the camera. Some of us stand up too straight. Us guys, when we stand straight, gut hangs out, double chin shows. I want to be able to just hang the body, which I'll come to in a moment. So you see there, what's happening is point the toe, bend the knee, shift the weight back, shoulders back, lean the chest forward, turn the face. The chin to the outer shoulder is very feminine. It's very beautiful to look at. There's a nice sort of soft sensuality to that. Make sense? Question, baby girl.
I do. A couple of really good questions that are relevant to what we're talking about. Konstantin Tiberopopa asked, how many assistants do you bring to a wedding? Do you have like 9 assistants? And I wanted to answer that because I appreciate that it looks like Jerry has 9 assistants.
I sleep with my assistant.
Reality, he only has me.
Not all the time.
So you can have 9 assistants, or you can have Melissa. No. So it's actually just the 2 of us. So we go to every wedding together. There'll be times when I second shoot for Jerry. There'll be times when I'm just assisting him, so carrying his bags, helping him with his lenses. And there'll be times that I'm filming it for the Ice Society, for our educational website. So no, that's it for our business too. We have Chris that works with us, and that's it. We're not big-time people. But because you're showing Aaron and Jeremy's album here, there's a couple of questions that have come up just about the album. And someone, I'll tell you exactly who, Alex Musat said, do you ever have issues with clients who are just like, that's a lot of negative space, I want to fill it in with more images? Or do you ever have an issue with that? Because obviously we had a lot of negative space here.
Yes, so, obviously, this album you'll see as we progress is quite balanced and not much negative space. Every so often there is negative space. Now, here's the thing. You will sell what you show. If you go to my website, you will see many examples of the kinds of things that I want to sell. In other words, I don't spend an enormous amount of time shooting 3 hours worth of detail shots. In fact, we got a request today from a magazine to feature a particular wedding in their magazine or their blog. And they said, you can only give us 3 photographs of the couple, but the rest have to be all detailed decor, cakes and things like that and all that kind of thing. And I'm just saying is that they just want to sell stuff. That's fine, that's their business, that's not a problem. But I'm suggesting that since when did a cake or chair covers replace family? Since when did it replace emotion and relationships and things like that? So it's actually a shame that that's happened. But I suggest that we focus. Negative space, not a problem. What I do is I educate my clients when I'm showing the design for the very first time why that negative space exists and make them a mini expert. And you just gain trust from there as well. Did you have a question, maybe?
I did. Just also along the lines of this, and because I forgot to mention it earlier, you had talked about different poses that you go through, that in your mind you make sure that you go through certain poses and to make sure you got them done. Stuart Monroe and Franco Mayo said, do you have a checklist that you, like a physical checklist that you go through? So with Jerry, he's been doing it for so long, he's got a mental checklist. If families come to him or a bride and groom say, hey, look, these are the important people, we have to make sure we get these family groupings, then we will actually print that out and we'll cross them off as we go to make sure we don't miss any details or any important people. But as far as that, making sure you get the bridesmaids together, the bride and groom together, full length, cropped up. One thing I forgot to mention is that if you enter that contest that we were talking about before, as a thank you for just entering and giving us some feedback, is that you get to download a free photography checklist, and it's exactly what Jerry's talking about right now. So Jerry we've put together literally the entire list of images that we want to make sure we get at every single wedding. So when you enter your name and email address, you'll be able to click on a link, and then we will send that checklist to you for free. And it's like 4 pages long or something. So it's really helpful. So I want to make sure, because I know a couple of you guys were asking about it, that you guys get that.
Yeah. So you would say that when something becomes second nature, you've got to practice it an incredible amount of time before it does become second nature. That checklist that Melissa was referring to, when I had a very large studio back in Australia, at my, I call it my quantity peak, we were doing 300 weddings a year and we had 15 employees. When you've got 4 or 5 photographers on a particular wedding day, you have to run it like a military operation and don't just say to the photographer, hey, go shoot a wedding and create magic. No. Do what you want, be creative within a certain constraint, but you must get all these shots. So before they even started assisting us in carrying bags, we would go through this photography checklist and make sure that we don't assume that they know. That's just it. We can't assume that couples know the implications of things or all those kinds of things. So I'll give you an example of what's on here. So I call it after the ceremony has been photographed, after the family shots, there are 7 do or die shots. 7. Okay, that you just must get. Rain, hail or shine. What are they? On the list, full length of the bride and the groom. Nothing fancy, looking at the camera smiling. Don't save the world, off camera flash, underexpose the sky, whatever. Just look at the camera and smile. Full length. Close up, looking at the camera. Bride on her own, full length. Groom on his own. Girls, bridesmaids. Bridal party, groomsmen. Once you've done that and you've got half an hour left, do it again differently. A different full length. Creatively. A different close-up. A different bride, a different groom, different girls, different guys, different bridal party. Make sense? Just get the shot. In fact, my old boss, my first boss, my only boss in my career, said a bad shot is better than no shot. Make sense? Now, you might be looking at this. So you got a question, Hector? Question, please.
Jerry, definitely I'm a big fan and admire all your images. They're amazing. But this particular image, is what I call $1 million photo, right? Is any way, anyhow, that you prepare the father and daughter in order to capture that image? What do you say to them, to him?
I am glad you asked that question, because I not only will answer it, I'll actually show you. I'll tell you what I said, and I'll show you how it evolved. All right? That's just it. You look at that, and you say, Jerry, you're just lucky. You've got great couples, great personalities, and you're just lucky. You know what? Sometimes I believe that luck is placing yourself in as many situations as humanly possible that attract so-called coincidences. Although this looks very organic and real and photojournalistic, I prompted it. How would I prompt such a photograph? It could be, in fact, in this case, what I did was, I said to the father, do not see the bride without seeing me first, and vice versa. I made a moment out of the father and the bride seeing each other for the very first time. Years and years and years ago, I popularized this notion because in America we do the reveal, like the bride and groom does a reveal and they see each other before they got married. And I don't know whether I was one of the first, perhaps I was at least one of the first to popularize the notion of doing the reveal of them together, of the father and the bride. So I got them back to back. And I may have whispered something like, I don't know about you guys now, but I want you to soak this moment in. This will be the last time you see your beautiful daughter as a single girl, and this will be the last time that your father will be the first man in your life. He's always been the first. I gave myself goosebumps, and I said it with all sincerity. You know why? Because I actually believe in that moment. It's very, very special. I'm not a father, but I can only imagine what you'd be feeling right now. That's how you loosen up a couple, to remind them of the importance of the occasion and remind them to be human. You can't, if you look at a bride as a paycheck, then it's just a transaction. It's cold. If you look at a bride as a beautiful girl, as a sister, as a wife, daughter, granddaughter, cousin, friend, best friend, you start to see everything a bit differently. So if she's freaking out, she may be freaking out because she deserves to. But it may be also your job to sort of say and hold her. Sometimes I would grab the bride, take her into the room with Melissa, close the door. Aunties are freaking out, want to be part of it. I say, look, we just need some time. And I'll say, you feeling good? I might even hold her hands. I'd say, you know what? You look stunning. You think it's okay that we just spend time away from the family and take some incredible photographs of you, the best you'd ever looked in your life? Would you like that? So my energy has basically said, relax, it's okay. What I've said is, hey, would you much rather take some friggin' awesome shots than listen to your aunties screaming for your attention? And then all of a sudden, we get these beautiful series of pictures. Now let's come back here. Let's show you some video footage of exactly what happened when they turned around. Watch. Fathers watching, fathers in this room, what would you not give to have photographs like that with your daughter on her wedding day? Daughters in this room, daughters watching, what would you not give to have photographs like that with your father on your wedding day? Why do we relate to it? You're even crying right now. Why do we connect with such a moment? Because we're human. This is once and forever. This is forever. You're making me emotional. I'm going to look at you right now. Why? Because you connect with that, I connect with you. We all connect. It's a beautiful thing. I'm saying to you that when we look at shots like this, you can't dismiss them as boring. And I'll say this again, you're boring, damn it, if you think these are boring. These are not just your disposable shots that we do, because the minute someone gets sick, the minute someone dies, these are the ones that we'll be rushing to actually get. Now, how did I take these photographs? Did I take shots of them looking into the camera, smiling first? Yes, but then what did I do? Have a watch. All right, gorgeous. And now you're looking into Dad, Dad's looking into you, and Mum's looking at Dad there as well. We're cracking it up. Now, forehead's touching with Dad, and you're turning into each other, and Mum, I know this sounds funny, but I want you to smile on her cheek. Go close, go closer. There we go. Give her a little kiss, giggling, we're laughing at each other. Thank you. Did you once look at that and say, oh, that's what camera he used, that's what lens he used, that's the lighting, that's the off-camera flash, whatever? It's about the moment, guys. Yes, the tools are fun, but ultimately, just don't forget what we're there for. Don't forget what can move someone with tears in the middle of a classroom. Quite simply, get your shots. That shot on the left-hand side, there was one looking in the camera smiling. There was. It was beautiful. Then get them to interact. Because one looking at the camera smiling says what you look like. The interactive ones tells me who you are. Make sense? This one, I'm not going to win an award with that. That's a traditional full-length portrait. But do you think the bride wants to know what her dress looked like that she spent all this money on? Do you see how she's very subtly pointing her toe, bending her knee, shifting her weight back, shoulders forward, shoulders back, chest forward, arms of the body? Why the arms of the body? Separate. We don't want the arms looking bigger and flatter and thicker because they press up against the body. We want to see a silhouette. We want to see air between arms and the body. The chin to the outer shoulder. It's very soft, very feminine, very beautiful. Now, if you didn't have much time, use your bullets wisely. You can just change your angle, change your focal length, and all of a sudden you've got an incredibly different picture. This is using the 85 1.4. Beautiful. On the eyes, soft, delicate. I would ruin that if I put another photograph with that side, don't you think? Now, I simply just changed my angle, so I got her to sit on this particular chair. I changed my angle, went vertical, and then all of a sudden I've got another shot. What else would you put in this spread of the wedding album if you took 100 pictures in that particular scene? You'd only put 2 or 3 in the album. My suggestion is take 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Don't waste your time in shooting pictures that you've already nailed. You can see them on the back of the camera. You can zoom up to it and see if it's in focus. Then, as we walked out, the lighting was really bad in this beautiful location. As we walked out, the lighting got good, so I quickly nailed that shot, knowing that that would be with that one. Then as we walked out, as she was going to hop into the car, this particular room we were not allowed to photograph in, but never believed that. So I said to the couple, the bride, and the actual bridesmaids, I said, when you walk into this room and outside, I'm going to be scooching down behind a table. Don't look at me, acknowledging me. Just hold the dress and walk out. And then we got this shot. Do you see how I waited for her to come and be contrasted with her highlight in her face with a curtain on the background? And the girls were giggling behind. Now you might say, Jerry, well, you sort of prompted that. Is that real? If I made someone laugh or the best man made them laugh, is it still real if I made them laugh? I believe so. So I'm just trying to say to you is that you don't spend all that money to look like you do every other day of the week. That's my opinion. In fact, anything that I'm saying today is only my opinion. And I might pose things as rules. They're not really rules. I call them common denominators. This is what I believe most of the time on 24 years of shooting and 1,000 weddings later. This is what I believe works most of the time. Break my rules, break anyone's rules. Just please the damn client and make them happy. Question, baby girl.
Yes, a couple of questions have come up about the timeline because I noticed that some people are starting to get the checklist already and they're saying, look, how do you make yourself have enough time to get some of these great images? And even Ricardo Espinoza just asked, how do you establish a timeline with the couples? How do you negotiate it in order to have enough time? And there's a lot of questions that came up like that. So I wanted to give you a little insight into what happens when we meet with couples. And Jerry will often even go over this at that very first meeting when the couple comes in to meet with us the first time. They haven't even booked. And at that very first meeting, Jerry is already planting the seed for how much time that we'll need with them. And it is all about education, as Jerry said earlier. When we sit down and we show these big, beautiful albums, we tell them this is typical for an album that a client will get. It doesn't have 20 pages in it or 30 pages in it. It might have 80 or 90 pages in it, and it's a complete wedding. And so they'll see that, and Jerry will say, if I have any chance of delivering beautiful images like this at your wedding for you and for the two of you, I need the time to do that. And that's when he starts planting that seed. And we'll tell them that we need a minimum of 1.5 hours to 2 hours with the groom. Then we need a minimum of 2 hours with the bride. We need at least 2 hours with the couple after the wedding on their own by themselves. And we'll go over this even before they book us. So we're planting that seed. And then after they book us, we keep reminding them and going over that over and over again. Now, do we always get 2 hours with the bride and 2 hours with the groom? No. Sometimes we only get 15 minutes too. But you plant that seed. And as Jerry says, and it's a perfect analogy, you ask for Australia, and if you get Tasmania, then that's pretty good. Like, you ask for the United States, and if you get Rhode Island, it's still really good. Rhode Island is the smallest state, but it's still a pretty good state. So always ask for more than what you need. And instead of, if you had asked for an hour or 45 minutes, maybe on the day you'll only get 10 minutes. But if you ask for 2 hours, and then because things are running late, you end up with an hour, well, that's still great. So always start educating your clients from the very beginning. So that's how we do it. So I wanted to throw that in there because that was a big concern.
No, great comment. Fantastic. Prepare for success. Don't prepare for failure. Don't sort of say, well, if this bad thing happens, what will I do? Just prevention is better than cure, right? Let's go to the groom's coverage here. Now, I'll be honest with you. When I woke up on this day and I photographed the groom's coverage first, I was a little bit tired. I was a little bit flat. So really, I got to the groom's home, and to be honest, if he was a fun groom, he would have lightened me up. If I was a fun photographer, I could do the same with him. The fact is that I'm always energetic, but for some reason that morning it took me a while to get into it. So what did I do? I just simply hid the fact that I was feeling a little bit flat, hadn't woken up yet. So I just took some detail shots, hiding his identity and everything like that. And we ask about locations. That shot on the left-hand side, that was in the actual shower because there was a beautiful beam of light in the shower. So I was posing him. Now I'm going to show you a piece of video footage of me doing this shot, and you'll notice where the location is, and you'll see how it's very mechanical posing. And then the stupid thing that I say to make him laugh. Okay, watch this. That's it, Isaiah Moore. It's good, don't move. And finding something incredibly funny down there. It's a stupid thing to basically say, wouldn't you agree? Hey, find something incredibly funny like on the ground there. It's stupid. But you know what? It's actually funny. Therefore, I got the desired result in the first place. And that's what I'm getting at, is that you could just do and say anything. Just be careful. Build trust first. Build trust first. Then after a while, like this photograph, the best man made him laugh. I found the best man straight away. He lit up and his friend was there. Fantastic. I posed him, got them over there, and bang. Now, talk about energy. This cute little kid, the little page boy came out. Man, everyone melted. He was the cutest little kid. What did I do? I made him the feature, put him front and center, and then that just makes you melt, doesn't it? So you can look at the camera, smile, which I did, but I knew that his energy, because I wasn't quite awake yet, woke everybody up. How cool is this kid? Then I was obsessed with him because he was waiting for the bride. He was running out. Like, is the bride there? I thought I heard the bride. I took that photograph, and without another one to go with it, that would have been a waste. Not strong enough to go on the wedding album, but I need something to go with it. So I ran inside, and there, sure enough, he was there, and that was what I expected. There's my 2 shots. There's my next sale of a spread of a wedding album. Then the car comes down the hill. By the way, this is actually in a place called Montsalvat in Melbourne, Australia. It's like an old artist colony. It looks like it's centuries old. It's probably about 80, 90 years old, but it looks European. So there's a bagpiper doing his thing. I thought, wouldn't it be cool to photograph over his shoulder to get the car coming down? And then, of course, I need another shot. Now, did they do that on their own? No, they just wanted to go outside. I actually just sort of said, guys, like, soak this moment in. I mean, this is it. How special is this moment? You're about to get married. You're about to give her hand away in marriage. And then, now sometimes you'll cry and sometimes you'll laugh. Either way, it's gold. Make sense? Then, I needed her to come out of the car. What did I do? I inset her a little bit, and I got this beautiful shadow vignette just over her forehead. I couldn't get the crease out of her face, so what did I do? I glorified it. I put the crease right in the corner of her eye to make it look like a teardrop. Whether you notice it or not, it's a little signature that I put in there of mine. Then I walked out. We took that shot on the left-hand side. I was in the car shooting out the leading lines of the ribbon, getting that beautiful moment. Now, you might say, Jerry, you're so lucky to get a bridal party and family that are so really fun together, and that's how you get that great shot. Well, not so much. Let me show you the video of how that shot was created. In favour, go right in front of the car, and I want the girls to zhuzh you up a little bit, and let's get your dad nice and close with his escort arm, and I'm going to shoot sort of through the car there. So, Dad, give her your escort arm, so she's holding you, and the girls are on either end just sort of cuddling up and then just making sure the dress is falling beautifully. So, everyone focus on the bride. I want you girls to look at each other. And fluff the dress right there, so sort of scooch down a little bit. Have a bit of fun there. Girls, all stand nice and close to the bride there. And Dad, come on, right behind her, gorgeous. And a couple of you on this side. I want everyone, fuss over the bride, fuss over her, don't look at me, look at each other. So girls, just scooch up a little bit higher. Okay, on the count of 3, I need a belly laugh. Okay, and look at the girls, back at the girls. Hold the piece of the dress. Hold the piece of the dress, darling. Okay, and you girls are looking that way. Dad, hold the dress as well. And girls, lean forward towards me and look at them. And girls, come closer to each other. Closer to each other, and towards the bride as well. This way, this way. Girls, come closer.
And can you belly laugh?
And chin, now, girls, you can stand nice and straight. Just hold the veil. But basically, on the count of 3, you 2 girls looking at the bride. Bride's looking this way. And the 3 of you looking that way. Okay, on the count of 3. Ready? And then the bride's looking that way. Okay, ready? 1, 2, go for it! And there it is. Isn't that crazy? It's funny, like I've had some people in my past that say, well, look, like it doesn't mean anything. You created it. Well, the thing is, if the wedding day doesn't evolve as a fairy tale, it's your fault. It could be raining. There could be no time. Guess what? It's your fault. No one says, well, the photographer didn't have much time and they had challenging subjects to deal with. Make sense? Then, as I was photographing them, I saw the kids, and we did a reveal with the little page boy and the flower girls. Watch this gold thing happening. It's crazy. Hey, look back at the girls. Have a giggle with the girls. Yay! Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, ew, girls. Ew. How cute is that story? How beautiful. So, the magic is there, capture it. If it's not, create it. Be proactive, be reactive, be everything. Be everything. Then this cute little kid was just adjusting. He actually banged his head in there earlier in the day, but he got over it very, very quickly. This girl, how cool is she? She walked in, she looked off to the right into the light. Wouldn't it be cool to have like little headpieces on all your bridal party members? You can direct them as you're shooting and stuff. But of course, every single shot that you're seeing right now, guys, is all photojournalistic. That shot on the left, I love. Look at that shot on the left-hand side. You've got the best man looking at the groom. He's like, oh my God, you're getting married, can you believe it? He's freaking out more than the freaking groom. And then you've got the processional with the father there and the bride. Love the reaction here. So this is one camera, me shooting from an angle, going from the vantage point, going left, right, close up, thinking about the wedding album as I'm shooting and saying, if I shoot too much on this side, I might not get much on here, and shooting through people. And, you know, if I get an emotional shot like that, I'm not going to adulterate it with something else. Then I had to tilt the camera to eliminate the bridesmaids in the background because I wanted all your attention to be on the bride. But then I thought to myself, well, I've got to keep on doing that for a whole sequence. Make sense? During the ceremony, I kept on seeing the father of the bride, who's been featured many times, play with his grandson, and it was the most beautiful thing in the relationship to watch. I thought to myself, all I need is 3 or 4 shots throughout the whole ceremony to get that story as a spread of a wedding album, which is this one. How cute is he? How amazing is it to immortalize that kind of a relationship? In fact, I think grandparent-grandchild, I think, is probably even more special than parent-child. Why? Because you get the fun without the responsibility. You know what I mean? And again, I'm shooting from this angle, I'm going right through, I'm going in the middle, and after a while, what you'll do is you'll learn to anticipate the moments, and if you've been to enough cultural weddings, Catholic, Jewish, Greek Orthodox, you'll know how much time you have in between. Okay. So, how's that question?
Yeah. So I love that you're doing the vantage points and stuff, and I try to do that as well. But when we're working with other people like videographers and such, and they're trying to get their shots too, what is the best advice you would give to still get those vantage points, but not get in their shots?
It's a great question. It's all about education, right? So you want to make sure that they know how you work, and you're both setting yourselves up for success. Why are we more important than the filmmakers? Why are they more important than us? Now, yes, biasly we'll say that photography has more longevity than film, but film has sound that has movement that we don't have. So really they're both important. You have to understand if you were a filmmaker, you'd want to get the shot too. Now what I do is I become their best friend quickly. Before we take one picture, I'll say something like, hey, I'm not too sure if you've seen my work. I just want to let you know how I work. I find the best light for us first. Then I'll pick a great complementary location. Then I'll pose my couple, roughly, 90% there, get my exposure, then nail the expression. Just so you know, almost every shot, there's movement at the end. This will be the easiest film that you've ever had to produce. All I ask is at least give me half an hour to start, and you'll see how I work. If you work over my shoulder, left and right, whatever, trust me, you'll get gold. Now, if you want a shot, and it's important that you cut across my camera, just please ask, and we'll work in harmony together. After all, the better we work together, the better we'll look individually to our couples. What do you think? You cool? So I get them on my side. Now, I'm a nice guy, and I'm patient, but I'm not an idiot. If they get in front of my camera all the time, I'll put them aside. Say, guys, look, it's hurting my shot. I could easily go closer myself, but if you're walking down the actual church there, right in front of the bride, not only I can't get the shot, history will not remember this moment in photographs, the groom will not see his beautiful bride walking down the aisle without seeing you in it. You're making it too obvious. So please, compromise, put your zoom lens on, go close, and we'll both get the shot. We'll both be happy. So develop a rapport. So after this, what do? Of course, I'm setting myself up to know when someone speaks, which way to stand, who's going to have the best expression, when do I need to start going in the middle, and when the kiss is going to happen. Moments that most often that we forget are these kind of moments. They get married and they sign the register. Sometimes they don't in different countries. I was focusing on these guys looking at the best friends singing, and all of a sudden this girl turns to me, almost like a younger version of the Afghan girl of National Geographic, Stephen McCurry. Quite crazy, like bang. Then on the top left-hand side, she just spontaneously said, oh my God, I'm married. And I caught the shot. Now these moments you can't create. They're there or they're not. Or you capture them or you don't. And then they looked organically, basically the groom looked at the ring. Then they did the fist pump. You'll find many couples will do the fist pump when they come down the aisle after they just got married. They get announced as bride and groom for the very first time, and husband and wife and so on. And then they'll often walk out and have some fun, just get ready. And of course, what will happen is they'll start congratulating each other and so on, but sometimes you just go a little bit out, and I quite like the little story that's happening here in the foreground. It just makes it look a little bit more interesting. Once I leave the bride and groom to their devices there so they can basically congratulate each other with a family, then I will always do a big group shot looking in the camera. There'll be an interactive shot, and then I'll do family shots. There will be those shots looking in the camera, yes. But the interactive ones are so much more soulful, don't you think? This is not going to win any awards, but it'll win the hearts of the couple. Make sense? Alrighty. Baby girl, have you got any questions at all?
Just a couple that we'll finish up with, because I know we've only got a few minutes left, so I want to make sure you get as much information in there as you can.
No worries. No problem. So you do want to ask it? You let me go. Okay, great. All right. So guys, the car was about to leave. Because they booked the car for a certain amount of time, so I needed a couple of shots with the car because they paid a lot of money for it. I did a few traditional ones, the obvious ones, but the ones that I really, truly enjoyed is when the couple were there, Beautiful light was falling through. We got some moments, and then bang, we nailed the shots. So think about it. Like what we're trying to do is we're just trying to tell a story. We're trying to immortalize these moments. We're trying to make them look and feel the best they've looked in their life. In the end, have I done anything very difficult? Have you looked at anything in that coverage so far that said, that's very intimidatingly difficult? You know what? It was just slowing down, developing rapport, and capturing and creating beautiful moments. Because if you freak out about the responsibility that you have, it's like saying, how the hell am I going to eat an elephant? And how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And I often say, do not start at the ass. So what do I need now? I've got these shots. I did my 7 do or die shots, those ones I talked about earlier. I did not actually even feature them in the album. I wanted to feature some different versions of those. So what my suggestion is, you find the beautiful light, a beautiful location, you take that beautiful shot of the bride. You see how she's slightly bending her wrist, she's bending her elbow, she's putting her chin up to take advantage of the light. I take that shot, don't waste that moment, don't waste that pose, bring the groom in. And then we've got this gorgeous moment as well. Make sense? You see how everything, when posing, should fit like a puzzle. Faces, bodies fit like a puzzle. Everything is in harmony. Then, in fact, the next shot that you'll see was actually taken earlier on the day. I just thought it would suit it actually here in the album. And that was, we were driving to the actual ceremony, and we happened to pass a lazy, stunning vineyard. We took this shot. 85, 1.4, and it looks like she just happened to go for a walk down a vineyard. Do you do that naturally? Well, not really. All the time, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. We're a fairy tale. This is beautiful, glorified. Don't hide it. We want a fairy tale. This is our time to shine. So we jumped the fence, went down. How did I create this to look organic and look like she did it? If I posed it too perfectly, like the dress perfect and everything, you wouldn't think it was real. Let me show you how we actually created this particular shot. Okay, give the files away.
Okay. No, you're right.
Oh, keep going.
Okay, it's like Jason.
Go about 10 meters that way. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. About there. Okay. That's beautiful. Now, turn around towards me, darling, and grab the whole dress and bring it over her left arm like she's walking with it. That's it. Look at me, darling, like this. Perfect. And bend your elbow in a little bit more this way. Perfect. Now turn your body this way. Point your toe towards me. Bend this way. Lean forward and turn your face this way. Now, if you can, couple steps this way. Stop there. Perfect. That's it. Beautiful. And turn your face that way. Look at me, darling. Tilt. And eyes down, chin down. How many of you in this room or at home were saying, take the damn photograph? You're so pedantic. Well, I could have taken 30, 40 shots and maybe only I chose one for the album and it probably wouldn't have looked as good. My suggestion is start that precedent early on in the wedding day of how you work. Now, there's sometimes I'll be high energy and there's sometimes I'll be just soft and slow and smooth. In fact, the Army here in the US has a saying, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Take your time, get the shot. Then we kept on walking around. What did we do? Now, don't forget that shots left and right should be harmonious in color palette, in mood, in feeling, and style. If that shot on the left was looking in the camera, that shot was actually photojournalistic, it sort of ruins both of them. So I took that shot. What do you notice of that shot on the left-hand side? I believe a good kissing shot is done slightly over the groom's shoulder. I believe a kissing shot is more sexy and more beautiful when the bride's nose is on the outside. You see, that light hits her face beautifully, and now I'm shooting voyeuristically. If I'm shooting through trees or something and they're looking at the camera, that defeats the purpose of shooting photojournalistically, or voyeuristically. Make sense? This shot, you might look at this and say, that's actually a really simple shot. And in fact, it is in many ways. But how much effort has gone into that particular posing? What would I do to achieve that pose, and why did I pose them that way? Let me show you some video footage now to explain to you and show you how and why. Sides now for me.
Minty fresh.
Come on here, darling. Yeah, sort of more to the side. Come this way. And turn.
Thank you.
Want your hands like this. On him, like one hand on either side, yeah, on either side.
Oh.
Hold around the waist. And just hold it back there so we can expose the waist. That leg's perfect, beautiful. And I might just get this part. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Perfect. And down. Point your toe towards me, gorgeous. Point your toe. So bring it right out like this. That's it. Bend the knee. So, and then bend that knee. And then push your butt away and hide that hand where I can't see it. Bring your bodies together though. Beautiful, guys. So now, lean to upper bodies towards me. That's it. Now tilt your head away from me, mate. That's it. And you lean towards me. And then slightly this way. And like you're just about to kiss, not quite there though. Don't move. Look at each other's lips, guys. Don't move. And now, upper bodies towards me, guys. Like tilt upper bodies towards me. That's better. And go for a kiss, guys, and close your eyes. Now again, you were probably thinking, take the damn picture. Guys, slow down. Who is forcing you to go a million miles an hour? Don't you think the energy of someone that's just slow and smooth and confident, not cocky or arrogant, just doing their thing, you set that precedent early in the day and things become easier for the rest of the time. Really, your energy should be like a symphony. There'll be highs, there'll be lows, and so on. But you'll find your work will look like that. If you're always high energy, it's like going to a rock concert and just headbanging the whole friggin' time. You need some peaks and valleys. What did I do with that pose? Notice, you see how she's putting her hands over the shoulders. If you don't pay attention to it, if she does this, she has 2 amputations. If she does this, she only has 1. His leg being bent. If his leg is straight, if you're hugging someone and you're a guy and your legs are straight hugging someone, this leg is static. It says nothing. I do not love you. Bending his leg, one will drop an inch or so off his height, which will bring him more in line with the bride, usually. Then this, I consider this bend, it's like an arrow pointing to the girl that he loves. The energy is shifting towards her rather than saying no. Make sense? Also, I was shooting down a stairwell. They had to lean towards the camera. It makes them more engaged, and I see their chins, a bit of breathing space between their chins and their arms. And her nose is on the outside. And they're framed within the trees, not with the church spire coming out of their heads. You see how much goes into a very simple photograph? What about this one? Now, I was in the reception. The actual coordinator of the reception was looking at me saying, Jerry, you're done. I'm like, no. While you're doing this thing, I'm going to photograph the bride. Deal with the groom. I'm not going to waste any time. This is me shooting this picture. Have a look. Come like this way. Rest right back again. Okay, bring your veil over you. This way. In fact, bring your hair big on your shoulders there, gorgeous. It's fine, darling.
No, it's just them. They've been such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's true. That's fine. It's beautiful though.
It is, but...
All right, so what I want you to do is very gently just hold it here. And now do the same position you would exactly before. Put your face right up. Talk towards me, good. That's it. And chin right up. That's it. Now close your eyes. Face left. More. More. And chin up. Tilt your top of your head towards me. Top of your head, that's it, more. And close your eyes. And then bend the knee this way, towards me, and then bring your backside right back. So switch, look at me, like this.
So I need to be like...
So come right back, rest your backside there.
Like that.
That's it, and then toe towards me, bend the knee. That's it, and faces up.
Like...
Gorgeous. Face left now. Left, other left.
Other left.
Close your eyes. If you can, your right hand hold this. And then you hold your right hand where I can't see it.
There? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, go tighter. Hold that. Tighter. That's it, close your eyes. Don't move. I'll send you the link to show from last year. It was worth the wait, right? Take our time, get the shot. Now, I know there's going to be some of you from different parts of the world and saying, Jerry, culturally, that's just not going to be the way we do things here and everything like that, or we don't have that time at the wedding. Guys, the culture can change. The culture of weddings can change in your part of the world. In fact, the culture here in America has changed with weddings. It can change. I always like to do a big scene setter, you know, big landscape, little people. I find this less emotional than close-ups. That's why I tend to be at close-ups and three-quarter. Walking into the reception venue, there was plenty of light there already. I didn't use flash at all. And they walked in, and you look for the telltale signs. You look for the kind of people the bride will endear to. You look for the best friend of the bride, where she'll be, and how to capture that. These are all photojournalistic, of course. Yes, we've got the bride and groom holding their hands, and I've put their hands in the O of the flowers being, you know, written in the word love. So what I'm doing is I'm telling a story. I'm going from there. I'm capturing the father doing a speech, and I know that the father's a character, and actually he's going to maybe do something funny with his new son-in-law and so on. But what I'm doing here, this is just me, one photographer, acting like 2 or 3 photographers, shooting from many different vantage points. Because to tell a story is not just one point of view. Now, then you might say, well, why don't you hire 3 or 4 photographers? Well, maybe they don't have the album in mind like I do. I've got all the pieces of the puzzle in my mind. Am I discouraging a second photographer? No, have them. Great. For confidence, whatever you want to do. But I'm just telling you, even when I do have Melissa shooting or someone else, I act as if they don't exist. In other words, they might miss the shot. Then what happens? If I rely on them and vice versa, it might be an issue. So just get the shots. Go from this angle, then go back. So you see how different this photograph was to the other father's photograph? If it was exactly the same, that'd be boring. Then I go a little bit higher. Now, often what I'm doing is I'm clicking and I'm scooching down. I'm clicking, I'm scooching down, and then going here and so on. I'm moving all around in different directions. Then, see, for me, I like this kind of detail shot. As in, you could take an empty room, but for me, it's got no soul. I would rather you show the detail of the reception and everything with people in it. This is the groom doing his speech. It makes it more meaningful. This is the kind of shot that maybe a wedding blog or a magazine should be asking me for. Rather than just showing me decor, freaking Google it. If you want to be touched like you were and we are, you know. When we were actually at the bridal room before they walked out, I noticed all these canvases, and they had this canvas at the front of the reception, so I quickly grabbed it and then quickly added one more shot for the spread of the wedding album. So what I'm getting at is I look at this whole wedding as a story, and not only that, I look at it as a fellow human. I want to document your story, but I also am a salesman. I want you to buy this album. So I say, how many ways can I make this story look a little bit different? Enough to warrant a different spread, but not too similar that's going to be on the same spread all the time. Then we come to one of the final shots of the wedding. They were dancing, and there was an existing spotlight. Now, because I know my light, even though this moment was photojournalistic, I believe that if you know how to pose and direct and you know your stuff, makes you a better photojournalist, because when you know where to stand, when something like this happens organically. Because we might just stand where we thought, but I know that here, the light's going to penetrate on her, hit her face and bounce on him. She's such a beautiful character, and so he's a handsome guy as well, but it's almost like this lighting is softer and more flattering for him. So I'm just trying to balance the scales of making them both shine. And of course, I need a shot to finish off the album, and that was going to be just something that I took during the reception. A moment that may not have happened chronologically last, but a shot that was a nice little finale to that beautiful story. And it happened to be actually in the bridal room again. And that was just them holding some champagne in the reflection of a mirror. And that's basically what I got just there. So guys, really hope you enjoyed that. Of course, I can't save the world in 2 hours. I thought it would be really fun to give you just my philosophy, my approach to wedding photography. I am passionate about it now, arguably more than I ever have been. I'm a working photographer. Yes, I teach as well, and yes, we've got other endeavors, but At the core, photography is in my blood, and I love it because we get to do that for people, and it's addicting. My advice to you is, I said to you earlier today, we spend our lives immortalizing moments for other families. The problem with that is at the expense of our own. My strong advice to you is make sure you have a balance. Make sure that you are doing it and you've got time with your family, and remember to just soak those moments in, because you're going to spend the rest of the week doing it for somebody else. So thank you so much for our audience as well, for being here and your energy. And I want to pass on to Melissa as she closes the show. Bye from me.
I just want to say thank you so much. This was amazing. And of course, I was online with all of you guys watching on Facebook, and I just loved all the chatting that we did together and all the questions that we have. There were so many questions that we didn't get to, but I don't want anyone to feel bad because it was really good. Like, I could definitely see a pattern between a lot of the same questions that were coming up that we may not have been able to get to today, but I'm keeping all of these questions because they will help us format our next broadcast. So keep asking those questions every time we're live, because that will help us come up with topics for future broadcasts, because I know that's what you'd like to see. So thank you so much for all the questions. I'm so sorry if we didn't get to them, but that means that we'll probably get to them later. I just want to say a couple of reminders. Some questions that had come up, couldn't remember links and that kind of thing. Remember to go enter our contest. We want to bring 2 of you to come to us and spend 2 days with us. So go to jerryandmelissa.com, enter all of your details there, and we are going to be picking a winner sometime after August 9th. So definitely go and enter there. Now, a couple of things that I forgot to mention earlier. When you enter that contest, when you put all your details there, you will see a link that will allow you to download or receive a free photography checklist. Jerry talked about that earlier in the broadcast today. It's 4 or 5 pages long of the images that we will take at a wedding. Jerry's posing with it there. So you will get that for free. That's just our way of saying thank you for participating, for entering the contest. After you click on that link to receive your free photography checklist, you'll actually receive the opportunity to purchase something called the Wedding Works. And I've had a couple questions come up because people were like, what is that? And I forgot to mention it earlier. The Wedding Works is our administrative workflow. It is basically the Bible for our studio. It has everything from telephone scripts to documents on exactly how we set the scene when clients come and meet with us, the questions that we ask them, the emails that we send to them, the letters that we send to them once they book, contracts, we have order forms, everything in there. And what we've done is we've converted them all into a Microsoft Word document. So you will receive a zip file with 17, 18, 19 Word documents that you can go in and modify. So you can just put your studio name at the top and put all of your details in there, and you can start using them right away. So basically, it's just all the documents and emails and forms that we use in our studio, and so then you can just, we've done the work for you, you can just start using it. So you'll have that opportunity as well. So remember, jerryandmelissa.com to enter that contest and everything else after that. Now, there was so many great comments throughout the whole broadcast about how much you loved seeing Jerry work, and it was really cool seeing the videos because you saw the image, but then seeing the behind-the-scenes version of that. If you really enjoy that and you really enjoyed learning that way, to hear the way Jerry speaks, then go check out the iSociety. The iSociety is our online educational website, and we bring so much information to you every single month. You can sign up for only $149 for a year, and there is already 10 years worth of content that you will have access to. We've been doing this for a long time. So when you sign up for your membership, you have access to everything that's in the library now, 10 years worth, and every single new month that we release for the next year. So it is a tremendously valuable resource for you. So definitely go check it out. The cool thing is that we are just now in the middle, almost finished, with completely relaunching the iSociety. It is going to now be called Jerry Guiones Photography Training. We're learning from Jerry and the iSociety. That's what we've been doing for years, so we thought it was appropriate to just let everyone know exactly what it is. it will be much easier to navigate. We will have so much easier to search with it, and it'll just be laid out in a much easier way for you to see the new content all the time. And we're doing it so that we can interact with you guys even more. So this will be great. This is going to launch very soon. If you are a member of the iSociety or you sign up today or soon, you will automatically be grandfathered into the new website. So there's not anything you'll have to do. We're very excited about that. I know you guys are going to love it. Also, a lot of people were asking today about, Jerry, can you please share the EXIF data? What was the ISO you were using? What was your shutter speed? So we didn't share that today because to do that for every single image that we shared would have taken up so much time. And we want to just try to cram as much information into the live broadcast as possible. But if you're a member of the iSociety, all of that's there. So you see the videos, then we also have the images pop up, and you can click on the image and all of the EXIF data is there. As a matter of fact, the wedding that Jerry was showing today, Aaron and Jeremy, that entire wedding is featured on the iSociety right now. So you saw a couple of snippets, but you can actually watch the whole thing from beginning to end and see all the EXIF data too. So there, that'll let you see all of that, which I know a lot of people were asking for. Also, I want to say on a personal note, if the very best learning experience, and you may have seen many of the comments that popped up today from people who have attended our workshop, that is the very best learning experience you can have. We are offering a limited amount of 5-day workshops this year. Now, here's the thing. We, and even before me, Jerry, has been conducting these intensive 5-day workshops for many years. These workshops that you see on the screen right now are the last 5-day workshops of their kind for the foreseeable future, and possibly forever. So if you've always wanted to go to a 5-day workshop, this is your chance. These are the only 2 that we have left that have some availability in them. So if you are interested, please go to the iSociety.com and click on workshops, or just reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help you. So we only have a few spots left in each. We'd love to see you there, and this could be the last time that you have a chance. It's 5 days, maximum of 20 students, so it's very intimate, very small. We are together from early morning till late at night, and I, from a personal perspective, did this workshop before Jerry and I were a couple, obviously, before we were married, and it changed my business. I know I alluded to it a little bit at the beginning. It changed the way I shoot. It finally made my studio profitable, and it allowed me to quit my full-time job. It really changed my life. So I will always be forever grateful to the 5-day workshop. So if I can tell you from personal experience, it's an incredible experience and so worth it if you are looking to make a career out of this profession. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you so much again. This was such a great experience. I loved connecting with people from all over the world. It was amazing, so many different countries, and we're really looking forward to doing it again soon.
Before we go, I think we should say goodbye in all our languages. So I'll start with Australian.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to one of your 3. So, all right. See you later, mate.
Ciao a tutti.
Go.
Até logo. Boa tarde.
Yasas.
Au revoir, merci à tous.
And now Spanish.
Yes, adios, gracias a toda esa gente que vino here.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Bye.